Welcome to the Business Building Blocks podcast, where we talk about struggles and celebrations that leaders and entrepreneurs experience on their journey to success. I'm your host, Kristina, and I'm passionate about helping you achieve massive amounts of success at work and at home. We'll talk about all things people and organizational wellness, share relatable stories, and feature insightful guests because quality people and processes are at the heart of every success story. Ready to learn, grow, and have fun? Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to the Business Building Blocks podcast. I'm your host, Kristina Schmitt. Have you ever felt like leadership just feels hard? That, why do I have to get up every single day and deal with this people problem? And they're going to come at me with everything that went wrong and I'm going to have to fix it. And I have to hold it all. And I'm never get anything done. Like just this whole feeling of it feels so much harder than it should. If you've ever felt this way, listen up. We're going to get into why you feel this way, why it feels so hard, and what you're going to do about it. All right, let's jump in. So first of all, what I want to say, if you're feeling this way, if you're feeling like leadership is very heavy, leadership, you're just maybe not cut out for it. If this feeling and these reels that are inside your head, you're not alone. I felt this way. Many of my clients, actually, most of my clients have felt this way. It is very normal. The best leaders feel this way. They just might not show it, but it's normal. So please know that you're in great company. The best leaders will feel this way from time to time. And you know why? Because sometimes leadership is hard, because leadership involves more than just knowing all the right answers. You're dealing with people. And in my world, when I come from working with a ton of engineers, we like machines because there's no emotions involved. There are emotions involved. There are thought processes involved. There are wounds from the past involved. And that is going to make it that much more difficult when you're really trying to lead well, when you think that you're trying to put your best foot forward and you're not just dealing with you and your emotions and your background and your history and everything going on and stress levels, you're dealing with everybody else's as well. And it makes it feel a little bit uphill from time to time. So this is normal. You are not alone and it's okay. And we can help. We can work through this. So the reason it feels hard is a bit of a layer effect, we'll say. Leaders have layers. So if you can name the movie I'm alluding to, Leaders Have Layers, Donkey. I'll give you a little hint there. Shoot me a message if you caught the reference. If you're a kid in the 90s, maybe you might know. All right. So there are layers. I digress. There are layers to it. So the first layer I want to talk about is your working genius, because we are all wired differently. And we've talked about this several times, but you're not wired the same as really anyone else in your organization. And you're not even wired the same as somebody who has the same two geniuses as you, or even the same 6 letters in the same order as you. You're not wired the same. So there are going to be parts of this that feel wonderful, that feel energizing, that feel really good to do. And you're like, yeah, I'm good at this. And then there's going to feel other parts that you avoid them. You don't like doing them. They cause you anxiety, like any of that. And that's okay. But understanding which is which can be such a freeing, getting rid of guilt sort of feeling, because when you understand how you're wired, you understand it's not a character flaw that you're struggling with this. It just is. And when you can understand that, now you can do something with it. Because if you get stuck into the, oh gosh, I'm terrible at this and I should be good at this and I'm awful, now you're stuck in this shame cycle. And when we get stuck in shame, we can't learn, we can't grow, and we literally just stay stuck. And that's that victim mentality thing that you hear about. We can all fall into it from time to time. Like we'll get the mentality around it because we get stuck in a shame. We get stuck in a spot that we're not willing or able to get out of at that point. And sometimes it's because we think we should be good at something. We think this should be easy. And the fact is there will be parts of your job that will always be hard. And it might be easy to somebody else, but it's hard for you. And that's okay. You just have to figure out what those are and create a system around it. So that system may be to delegate it. The system may be to get other support. The system may be around your scheduling and how you do it. You've got to figure out what those things are and how you need to deal with it because they need to be dealt with. So that's the working genius portion of this layer. All right, layer number 2 is comparison. All right. Comparison can be the death of all of us. And believe me, I say this because I do it. I say this because I need to hear it too. When we look at what others are doing and how others are doing it, that is not helpful. It can be helpful in a benchmarking sort of stance. But when we start to say, maybe I should do that too. And why am I not doing it? Why is it not working for me the way it's working for them? That's not helpful. That's that getting stuck again in kind of this cycle. So first, working genes, understanding where you're wired. The second one is this comparison trap, right? When we start comparing ourselves to others and how they're succeeding, that just gets us more stuck. And the reality is it doesn't help. And so I'm going to take a line from one of my favorite people, Laura Rowland: notice what you notice and leave the rest. So if you're out benchmarking or just kind of checking out what other people are doing in your area or other leaders are doing, fine. Notice what you notice, but then leave it. Okay. If you're going to notice something that this aligns with what I want to do, then take it, rob and deploy, make sure it works for you, but don't just do it because they're successful. They're doing this. I must do it. That's not going to work. And it's going to get in your way and keep you stuck. All right. And then this layer 3, when we start comparing ourselves to others, we start feeling like a fake and a fraud. And you can call this imposter syndrome or whatever you want to call it, but we start feeling like we're faking it. And I'm going to put 2 nuances to this, right? So when you feel like you're faking it and this imposter syndrome feeling, you feel like someone's going to figure it out. Someone's going to know I don't know what I'm doing. And again, not helpful to be stuck into that. Now, the other side, and where we can use this faking it to our advantage, is that sometimes we need to fake it. Okay. So this layer can get it can be helpful and hurtful at the same time. So I've talked numerous times ad nauseum, we'll say, on the thoughts, feelings, behaviors, results wheel that exists. So when we're trying to get somewhere, when we're trying to change, we can only attack it either at a thought level or a behavior level. Usually we'll have to attack it at both, but sometimes you have to fake it. So sometimes you have to pretend you're confident. And then once you start pretending you're confident, you will actually start to notice that you become confident. It's kind of like people say, if you're in a crappy mood, to smile. And if you just fake smile, you will actually start to real smile after a little while, because there is something in the way that doing it triggers the muscles and triggers things in your brain that make you just actually want to smile. Sometimes the faking it will help you make it. When I first started supervising on the shop floor, I was about 24. I had come in I was on a leadership rotational program. So I had done 2 rotations. This was my 3rd one. I was put specifically in this because I was shy and I needed to get more exposure, not being so shy. Can you believe it? I still struggle with it, by the way. But I knew if I came in as shy and weak, I would never overcome that. They would know me as that. That first impression would be huge. So I said, okay, I need to go in and pretend I know what I'm doing. And I'm going to tell the story and then I'm going to give another caveat too. All right, I need to pretend I know what I'm doing, not in an arrogant sort of way, but in a way that I am confident. So I spoke louder than I thought I should speak. And I shook hands more firmly than I normally would have. And I just said, hi, how are you? I'm Kristina. Like it felt so weird, right? And I was faking it. But what happened was eventually I just got confident. Like it didn't feel faking it anymore. I did it on day 1. And it had to carry over. So it carried over to day 2. And by the end, in my review, my manager there said, I don't know what you're talking about. She is not shy. So to my manager there, my development manager that was on the program. So it works. You can fake yourself to acting a way that you want to act. If you have a goal, you can fake it in instances, but you also have to attack the thoughts around it too. You feel like you're faking it. Like part of the reason why it might feel hard or it feels too hard to fake. So you can do it sometimes, but sometimes you have to dig into these thoughts and start really understanding what gets in the way, where are these coming from, and how can I change them? These 3 layers can lead us into just where we have this thought where we get stuck that leadership is hard. And it is hard, but if we approach things like, oh, they're hard, now we get stuck and everything feels hard. We we don't feel like we can do it, and we get ourselves stuck in a way that where we're trapped and we can't move forward. We can't make that next step. So if it's been feeling hard, all right, this is the shift that I want you to make. So the goal isn't to make leadership easy, because it's not. It's a skill set. It's actually a set of many skill sets. And there are parts that will always feel hard. Go back to your working genius, right? They will always feel hard. But what's important isn't about making it feel easy. It's about creating a leadership system. And it's about creating an environment where you can operate as the best leader. So understanding your geniuses and frustrations and knowing where to play to your strengths, where to play to those geniuses, and where to get help around and create systems around those frustrations and weaknesses. It's about knowing, number two, where you're going, right? Where do you want to be personally? How does your work, how does your business support that? And where are you going as a business? So these are huge to overcoming this hard feeling of leadership, because when we know this with overwhelming certainty, when we know these things, then that sets us up better. That helps us make this shift of, yeah, leadership is hard and I can do it, or leadership is hard and I can't do it, to this, yes, leadership is hard and I can do it because this is how I'm going to do it. So the shifts that we need to make, the skills that we need to know are the number one, knowing yourself. Number two, knowing where you're going. And then number three, know your team and surround yourself with the people that support you where you're going. So support the you know, and the where you want to go. I'm going to start rhyming today. And then number four, you need to set that system up, right? So I don't think I talk about systems enough in this whole leadership realm of things, because I've been educating you on models. I've been educating you on wellness of a leader, on the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors of leaders. But the reality is, and I've touched on it with some of the strategy things, but the reality is you have to create systems around your leadership, or a leadership system. And this is the part that once you understand the first three things, creating that system is what makes it sustainable. It's what makes it translatable and transferable, so that if you're looking to grow out of your company someday, like sell it because you want to do something new, sell it because you want to retire, sell it because whatever you want to, I don't know. If you want to get out of it, you need the system. You need the system there. And there is a leadership system that you need to create, which includes communication structures. How do you know what you're going to know? When are you going to talk about it? How are you going to get these updates? Because it's about your time too, right? You need to get your time back. You can't spend every minute in every meeting. You can't be problem solving every single thing for everybody else. So that's where the system and the structure come together. All right. If this was helpful for you, if you're feeling this leadership is hard, this is why I created Leadership Fundamentals. So if you listened at the end of last week's episode, I was telling you about Leadership Fundamentals program that is kicking off on April 28th, and that's 2026 if you're not listening to this episode in real time. So the reason I created it is because there are so many leaders who feel that leadership is hard, or they feel they're not cut out for it, or they feel that they can't do it, they don't want to do it, they're miserable, and their work is just overtaking their whole lives. And I hate to see that, because that's not what we were put on this earth to do. This is why I created Leadership Fundamentals, to help leaders understand who they are, learn some skills for getting that to translate into where they're going, into who's surrounding them, and to create a system that works for them so that they can run their business efficiently. Then they have time. So they're growing. They have time to develop their team. They have time to retire partway, or to be part of their family life and volunteer and do all these other things that they kind of thought they might be doing as business owners, but they're really not doing anything at all, because they're tied to this job that they've created themselves. So that is why I designed it. If this is something, if you're feeling this way, reach out to me, talk to me, jump on my website. The link will be in the show notes. Get in this program, because it's your freedom ticket. It is this thing that's going to help you go from a slave to your work, a slave to your business, to having a system that works for you to run your business with your team. If I just told you the tools only, then you would be able to, what you would be stuck with. If I just taught you tools, because that's not what we just learned. We learned tools, yes. But if I only taught you tools, then you would say, okay, this is a system that I must use, and why doesn't it work? Or why can't I do it? But what I instead teach you is, yes, I teach you the tools, but I also teach you about you, and I help you learn more about you. And then I help you translate that into action, translate that into habits and systems that work for you. And that is how you get the freedom. That is how you get your life back. And that's why we're here. So if that feels like that would be a relief for you, if that feels like that's something and somewhere where you need to go right now, then reach out, jump in the program. We've got one more week. I've got a couple spots left and I don't want you to miss them. So get on in there. And if you haven't noticed, this is episode 99. As we're wrapping it up today, I want you to ask yourself, I want you to just sit with a few questions. So if leadership's been feeling hard, if you've been second guessing yourself, if you've been wondering why some people can do it so well and it comes so naturally to them, but it just doesn't seem to fit for you. It's not because you're not capable. It's not because you're not good at it. It's not because you can't do it. It's because you're at a point. You're at a point where you need to make a shift, where you need to do something a little bit more than you've been doing. You need to change how you lead. So you have a choice. You can stay where you're at. You can continue to try to figure this out, try to fit yourself into this square peg, right? Put your square self into the round hole, whatever the saying is. I don't say it right, but you can keep trying to figure this out and trying to do the things that others are doing, or you can figure out where you are and figure out this shift and start to lead differently. So the thing about the shift is that it requires more. It requires a lot of growth that a lot of leaders want to avoid. And it's not because they don't want the results, but it's because they're afraid to make the change. They're afraid to do the hard thing. And if you feel you're on this cusp, then I want you to come back again next week, because that's what I'm going to talk about in my episode 100. All right. This is a big episode and it's going to have a lot of challenging things, a lot of things that are going to shift how you lead and how you can make a difference in your business. So come on back for that one. And I will see you on the next episode 100 of the Business Building Blocks podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to the Business Building Blocks podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's next. If you found value in our conversation, please leave a quick review, like, or share. It helps us reach more amazing listeners like you. For more resources and insights, visit KristinaSchmitt.ca, where you can find tools and support to empower your leadership journey. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.